Welcome to the Hidden Levels and Arctic Trucker Simulator. I am your host for today and my name is SimUK. You can find a link to my channel in the description below. So this is not Arctic Truck Simulator, but Arctic Trucker Simulator. It is a PC game released on Steam in early October 2016 by the development team United Independent Entertainment GmbH and is endorsed by Alex Debogorski. United Independent Entertainment GmbH are no stranger to simulation games and have released a plethora of similar name titles such as Highland Warriors and Safety Driving Car and Motorbike, respectively. All previous attempts have been met with mixed reviews at best. If you haven't seen the TV series Ice Road Truckers, you might not know who Alex Debogorski is. Even if you have seen Ice Road Truckers, you still might not know. Despite all that, this game has the makings of a classic, with what appears to be a winning combination, combining the already very popular Euro Truck Simulator format with the stunning backdrop of the challenging and dangerous ice roads of Canada and Alaska, or at least a similar looking representation of them, only draws positives in my mind. The game boasts the following features: 5 trucks with varying power and traction, career mode with a points multiplier, improve, service and change the look of your truck, dynamic weather system and numerous settings, supports steering wheels and gamepads. So let's jump into the cab and hit the ice road. So the game has something of a very brief and basic splash screen, which then leads on straight into a very brief and basic help screen. Presumably this is intended to introduce and guide you through how the game works. I just closed it out of my way. Once you clear all the screens down, you'll find a pure white tractor sat in the middle of a snowy clearing. With my G27 connected, I appeared to be stuck in a perpetual spin, though I wasn't immediately aware that that was what the issue was. I took a quick glance through the settings page and correctly set my resolution to 1920 by 1080 and noticed that 2715 by 1527 appeared to be the maximum resolution available. The weather system appeared to have the most options available, allowing you to set dynamic or fixed weather and how long a day in-game will last. The mission screen was again very basic. It looked dated and sorry for itself, but it was intuitive enough. The trucks menu offered a few options in terms of maintenance, upgrading, customizing and purchasing. And looking through all of the remaining settings screens, it confirmed that this game had limited options available, so I pressed on. Unfortunately, my G27 didn't appear to be behaving quite the way I expected, with the brake turning the camera and the gear shifter changing the camera view. Steering right did absolutely nothing, while steering left partially turned the wheel. I spent a good 20 to 25 minutes trying to fix the issue by changing my G27 configuration and by attempting to utilise the in-game control binding features, but something was desperately wrong with the controls menu. Any attempt to change a button merely resulted in the removal of any predefined setting that was already there. Despite numerous configurations and known fixes being applied, I eventually accepted that the game could not cope with a third pedal and swapped to the 360 controller. To do this, I had to quit out of the game, and when I returned, the game had reverted my resolution settings. The 360 also required some configuring, but soon enough I was on my way. The tractor actually looks pretty nice on the outside. We will never talk about the inside. Never. So with a working tractor, I decided to take on my first contract. The map isn't very clear, and at first I was confused about what information was being relayed. Over time, I discovered that each of the locations on the map have a maximum of 4 rather blurry icons next to them, and as you select a trailer, the areas who want that trailer delivered to them flash. Attention to detail on the trailers is low, but the overall effect is good enough to ensure that you do know what you're carrying. I set off towards my destination, carefully trying to stay on the road, which is difficult to distinguish from the rest of the floor, fully aware that I was carrying a heavy load in icy conditions. I needn't have bothered, because no matter what I did, regardless of speed or load, made the slightest bit of difference to the handling of the truck. At all times, you will see, in the bottom left-hand corner, your speed and fuel indicator. The map sits to the bottom right and can be removed if desired, but the speedo is constant. Again, here, attention to detail is poor, as the speedo does not signify if it is in miles per hour or kilometers per hour. The drive from point A to point B is boring. Very boring. The only source of entertainment that I found was wolf squashing. A great game to help tired ice truckers to pass the time, but that happens too infrequently to be a proper sport. And speaking of tired, I fell asleep 4 times whilst recording the footage for this review, and I wasn't even tired. I think what caused this was the combination of the in-game stereo music provided and the endless grind from point A to B, only to then have to return to the start point without a trailer before you can then continue on to your next job. Crash! Oh wait, no crash. None at all. The trees, they're not real. So this is where the game suddenly plummets off the edge of the cliff from being an average game to why does this game even have the word simulator in its title? So on about my 4th or 5th contract, this was before I fell asleep, I decided to try something out. The long, very long and boring journey to return to base was just too much for me to bear. So I decided to try a shortcut on the way back, through the trees and over the mountain. It worked, admittedly at a much slower speed, but overall it was quicker, and that was what I needed at this point. So I thought to myself, it's clearly time to celebrate, pimp my ride and boost the performance a bit. And I did, kinda, with the very limited options made available to me. But it was something I wish I hadn't done, because all it did was cost me a lot of money, and it meant that I was now even further away from buying a better truck. I decided I would see if I could repeat the shortcut again, but this time with the trailer on the back. There is a tow truck service if things got gnarly, and guess what? They didn't. I breezed through the forest and over the mountain as if I didn't even have a trailer on. In an attempt to make as many shortcuts as possible, I found myself traversing empty, completely barren stretches of land, and with the radio on, it was just inevitable that sleep would eventually strike. Finally, I made enough money to purchase my new tractor, and I was genuinely excited to see what performance enhancements the new truck would bring, and to see how multiple trailers could streamline my trucking career. Once a truck is purchased, it becomes available within the mission screen. Each new truck upgrade enables an additional trailer to be attached to your first. The shipments are identical, but delivering 2 items instead of 1 has obvious financial benefits. There are some additional serious drawbacks, however. For one, fuel economy is reduced. And an annoying side note about that is that even though you are charged when you buy fuel, you are also charged a second time for the fuel you have used for each mission. I pressed on towards the woods and mountains, looking to take advantage of our shortcut and reap the benefits that my multiple trailer haul would bring. And that was the straw which broke this camel's back. This upgraded truck with its bigger engine and 2 trailers in tow could not drive through the snow. The shortcut was useless, utter disaster. My only option was to take the long route round. In conclusion, I must say that this game isn't the worst that I have ever played. Possibly it is the worst simulator, but not the worst game. Who is this game good for then? Certainly not a hardcore simmer like myself. I think perhaps if you had young children who wanted to play Euro Truck Simulator but weren't quite ready, then maybe this game, for just a few pounds, is a wise move. The annoying thing is that actually this is a great idea, and there is an almost solid base here from which a good simulator could evolve. But I rather think that's unlikely to happen. Arctic Trucker Simulator is a long way from realistic, and perhaps even further away from fun. But it does have something, and it also has something that we can all enjoy. Take good care of yourselves. Goodbye for now.